All right. So we are live. I am doing some painting and stuff, but before that, you guys can't see, but see these scissors? I'm going to show you something. You hear that? That's a crazy sound, right? Yeah, I just cut most of my beard off. Why? Because I do that, every now and then after a while, my beard grows up. I mean, one thing I'm very blessed is that my hair grows very fast. Maybe it's because, I take care of my nutrition and all that, but see, look at that. I don't know. My wife thinks I should just take it a little shorter. I've got clippers. I'm half tempted to just go bald right on my face. Just boom. So that's it. Now my beard looks really messed up right now because I need to actually, neaten it up and everything instead of it being all gapped up and everything. But oh man, it feels so much better though. Now I was going to shave my head today, but my wife was like, "No, let me take you to the barber, and we'll get your hair done." And I'm like, "Okay, fine." So yeah, the wife basically stepped in on that, but because she says she doesn't like when I walk around looking like a giant Q-tip. So, and okay, fine, fine. If you don't like me looking like a giant Q-tip, then whatever. But there's Timmy and MN Mosta. Hey, how you doing, homie? Um, let me let Timmy. But yeah, so pretty much after I get done streaming, I'll go into my bedroom and or my bathroom in the anyway the master suite, and I'll bust out. I've got a professional pair of clippers, and I'll neaten this up, and maybe I'll go all the way down to no guard and take it all off. Maybe not. Maybe I should leave the porn cop mustache like I used to wear when I was in the fire department. You know what I mean? Oh man. But anyway, yeah, that's it. The beard is gone. Hold on, Timmy. I got you, bro. Okay, well, the beard ain't gone, but it's mostly gone.
Hey,
Hey,
got about a half an hour before my game starts.
well, I can think a few things better than hanging out with me for that time.
Yep.
Yeah, I just
Oh,
totally tucked my beard off, homie.
I did too.
While I was sitting here, though, I actually
Well,
showed the hair
there. I didn't do it just recent now, but
with a pair of crafting scissors, which
yeah,
was not comfortable, because they're dull. And hair is tough, man.
yeah.
But I'll go into the room and I'll get my little clippers and put like the one guard on them and neaten
It's
it
why
all
I
up.
usually go to a barber for that. Barber gets it down enough where I could just finish shaving it off.
Well, my wife, I was gonna shave my head, but she was like, "No, let me take you to the barber," and I'm like, "Fine," you know. I mean, of course, I can do that. And so yeah, that's basically what's going on. Homie.
Mm-mm-mm.
But I just it was like every time I was eating, I was getting, you know.
junk in your beard.
Yeah,
Eh.
but this happens anyway. Like you've been around.
Yeah.
Every now and then I just shave that shit off. But I'm lucky because, as I said, my hair grows so quick that it's like whatever.
I got a really good razor for shaving now. I should just keep using it instead of forgetting.
I know a trick that'll keep a razor sharp for like a long, long time if you want to know it.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I got like I don't know how many razors.
You know what the
Almost
trick
50
is?
blades.
Well, the trick is after you get done shaving with your razor, you put it where the razor blade is like in a cup of olive oil.
Ah, fair.
And the olive oil will prevent the razor from basically rusting and stuff.
No, fair.
And then, which will keep it sharp because you can't even see the rust because the razor blade's so thin,
Yeah.
it just flakes off, right? And on top of that, then when you use the razor to shave because it's been in olive oil, it's almost like it lubricates itself a little bit.
Ah. Well, that do anything with stainless steel?
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. Even stainless steel, while it won't rust, it can still be affected.
I might do that then because I have like a stainless steel razor blade. It's not the blade. I don't think the blade itself is stainless steel. It's more the case that's stainless steel.
Do you got a safety razor?
Yeah, I think that's what you call it. I guess.
Yeah, the kind that you open up and put the blade in and close and then shave with.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty good to do that with those.
Yeah. It's
One of
way
the guys
better
I
than.
worked with at the fire department showed me that, and I was like, "Wow, that's
Nice.
actually
I
really
gotta say, I
good."
like the safety razors than the new blades.
I will end up shaving with whatever my wife has under our sink. And usually that will be the cheapest single blade razor you can find because I almost never shave and neither does she, but for different reasons. Mine is because I grow my hair out and she is because she just don't grow hair.
Well,
So
for me, I hate the newer type of razors. I don't like the companies either, so I just went, hey, this one streamer I like was shilling out this Western razor company. I was like, hey, that looks like a really good razor, and tons of blades. So why not buy that?
there you go. I support your activism, sir. Okay, I've got a couple
When you get a
things I
good
can
product, it's
work
like
on
it's a
today.
good thing.
Right. I mean, if somebody's selling a good product at an inexpensive, at a good value, then obviously it's a no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
These yellow mechs I painted a while back, I used the Army Painter yellow. I am not a fan of it because ultimately it ends up looking orange. So I'm highlighting it with Dorn yellow, which is an edge color that you use on yellow to like highlight edges. And then I will go over it with a Lamenter yellow glaze. That should fix it up. That should make it
Nice.
look brighter yellow, which is what I want. I want almost a canary yellow color. I wonder how many people out there actually paint their mechs like canary yellow.
Probably, I'd probably say that would be not many, but I don't know.
Well, I started doing it because I had a whole army of Lamenters Space Marines, and their primary color is yellow with like the black checkered shoulder pad. So, yeah, that's kind of what got me, you know, because I loved my Blood Angels, but at a point in my life as a 40K gamer, I kind of just got sick and tired of painting red, you know?
Yeah, I'd probably
But
choose
at
color.
the same time, I didn't want to play anything that was not Blood Angels. So I went through all the successor chapters, and the vast majority of them are red. Maybe with black or whatever, but at the end of the day, red. Except for the one I found, the Lamenters, who are yellow. The only red on them is actually a bleeding heart on the shoulder pad, because that's like their chapter uh, decal or whatever.
I'm guessing that's another good thing about the sisters. There's plenty of different colors. I think you can make them.
Yeah, the sisters I painted up all white.
Yeah, that would be one of their chapters that they have.
Yep, the armor was all white. Everything was all white. I think the bolter was red, but everything
Yeah,
else
they
was
they
red.
have like slight red accents on white on one of their chapters. I can't remember
Yeah,
which one that was.
yeah, it's something to do with a rose.
Yeah,
It's like the sisterhood of the something rose or whatever. But
yeah,
yeah, I dig the sisters. They're cool.
yeah.
In 30K, they have a thing you can take in some armies called the Silent Sisters.
The
Or,
Sisters of
or
Silence, I think.
yeah, and they're all like anti-psychers,
Yep.
so they're cool. They do a lot of work with the Custodes and the Inquisition. If they know they're going to be dealing with psychers, they bring the Silent Sisters with them because they're, I think what they call them is voids.
Yeah.
Hey, Dean, how you doing, brother?
Hey, Dean.
And because of that, it like means they have like a negative warp presence. So not only are they not really visible in the warp, they actually shut down all the warp stuff when they're around, which is super handy if you happen to be fighting warp entities, demons or whatever, to just have people be able to roll up and shut that shit right down. But yeah. But then before I ended up buying them, I decided that I was going to not buy Warhammer stuff anymore. Uh, so I bought the armies that I play for Legion Imperialis, and I'm not buying anything else because the only thing I will buy, I'll be fair, the only thing I will buy if they ever put it out for Legion Imperialis is I'll buy Primarchs. If they ever make little like 8 or 10 millimeter tall Sanguinius models, yeah, I'm definitely buying that for sure. So that I have the Primarch to lead my crusading legion. But other than that, I really can't think of anything they could put out that I would need. I mean, I've got so many vehicles and Marines and everything like that. It's just like, you know, half
If
the
I were,
time when I build an army, I can't even use all the miniatures on them.
yeah,
But there we go. See, I did the yellow highlights on him, and now if I give him like a
looks pretty
glaze,
good.
yeah, I need to do his cockpit too. You see how it's blue, but
Yeah.
every other mech I have, the cockpit is copper, and that's because in the Battletech Online game, the cockpits of all the mechs are like this copper color,
Mm.
like a reddish copper, whatever. So yeah, I'll redo that, and he will be ready to go. When he's dry, I'll just give him a glaze of Lamenter yellow, and that'll brighten him up a little bit.
Well, James, I've basically made a broken army of Batanian Fiends in my game.
Really?
Yeah, all Fiend, like they're almost all Fiend champions now. Armies of like everything could just like 200 or 300 could come up to me, and I would win hands down with maybe 3 or 4 losses.
Well, I mean, then prepare to spread throughout the continent, I guess.
I
That
joined
was
the
the goal,
Battalions.
right? That was what you wanted.
Yeah, I basically joined the Battalions just to see if I could make them overpowered, and I pretty much have already done that to the point where I think I could possibly just single-handedly take over all of Coloradia. Although it would be hard, because one thing I'd have to do is probably become leader of Britannia instead of conquering it like I used to.
Right.
Because there's a new, they changed some things in the game. Like, you can no longer recruit from villages or towns that you are at war with.
Well, I mean, that makes sense, though.
I know, I mean, it makes sense, but that means if I'm at war with the Britannians, I can't replenish my units.
Right.
So it would be a really difficult thing to do.
All right. Here we go. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying, but I have no end of faith that you will figure that out.
What I plan on doing is somehow dealing with Caladog, so he might have to meet with an accident so I could take over eventually.
Okay.
And then I can just roam across as the leader of Britannia.
He's going to have to meet with an accident.
Yeah. But first I have to gain the recognition of all the other clans in the faction first.
Right.
That way, whenever they vote for the newest leader, I'll be the one that they'll vote for.
So it's not just warfare, there's actual politics in this.
A little bit more than usual. It used to not be all that political because, I mean, seriously, like pre 1.4, you could literally just like take over the entire world by yourself without any real issue.
Right.
And now there is a little bit more politics. There's trade agreements. You can actually deal with internal politics in the game now a little bit more.
I think that sounds cool, though.
It is a little bit cooler.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
That was one of the negatives of Bannerlord. It was kind of bare bones. I think a lot of people did mod in like diplomacy mods just to make it a bit more fun.
Well, I've been playing, and I think I told you, I play occasionally, what's it called? Knights of Honor 2. Something like that. It's pretty much you can pick any kingdom in the whole world, and you watch out for your bloodline, you know, because eventually your king will die, and then you'll have to pick which one of your sons takes over, and like there's all kinds of political backstabbing, but then there's also a lot of just straight up going to war. And so yeah, it's pretty good. Now these guys, you see how I did these guys?
Yeah.
They're going to get dry brushed with Iraqi sand, which is a really light beige. It's actually this color right here. And that'll be their highlight. And then I'll decide if I want to do them like chocolate chip camouflage or something like that, you know. Which chocolate chip, as I call it, that's the camo that they issued to the U.S. Army during like the first Gulf War. I used to actually have my uniform, but I can't fit into it at all anymore. So my aunt wears my.
I say that chocolate chip camo is probably better than the UCP.
Well, everything's better than that. That's why they're getting rid of it.
Yeah.
That shit. It all. I mean, it just all fades out and looks white, you know, after a while.
And even then, I mean, it didn't blend in with anything except for some reason.
Yeah, I saw that picture of the guy laying on the couch. Yeah, no one liked that. And it was basically the Army was trying to rip off the Marine Corps. Because the Marine Corps had that freaking whatever they call it, the UPAT, whatever. And the Army liked it, but I guess, you know, people didn't want to share, so the army made their own pattern, but it basically was terrible. I have a set of it in my closet right now of the army, what you're talking about, that kind of digital bullshit.
Yeah.
But like I said, the problem is after you wear it for like a little while, it just looks white, you know. At a distance, you just look like you're wearing some kind of pale, maybe eggshell colored uniform. And that's not really what you want
No,
when you know making camouflage like that.
you're
But
supposed to try to disrupt your pattern, not make you stick out like a sore thumb.
yeah, it's weird how all that happens. But so tonight you're playing with Bubba.
Now, this is my White Wolf game,
Oh, okay, with the
Brazilian guy.
Brazilians or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm glad that things are cool with Brazilians now because there was a time where like literally every gamer hated Brazilians. And that time would be like League of Legends
Mm,
because the Brazilians would join, and if you're playing like a pickup game, you didn't have a whole team, right? If a
yeah.
Brazilian got on your team randomly and the other team was Brazilians, then the guy on your team would basically do everything they could to ruin your chances.
That's terrible.
And then if you said anything, they would laugh at you, but because they speak Spanish or whatever they speak down there,
Portuguese. It's an odd version of
Portuguese,
Portuguese.
right? Instead of going ha ha ha, they spelled it with a J. So it'd be ja 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 ja. And man, literally just everyone despised them. So eventually League of Legends like made it where they had their own league.
Server.
Yeah, it was like the South American server. And but they're not the only ones that were bad. Dark Age of Camelot, right? They had an Asian server in the beginning. All the Australians played on the North American server. And the reason was that the Chinese on the Asian server, anytime they would find out that somebody was like an Australian, they would just harass them to no end.
That is a
So,
Chinese thing to do, apparently.
so yeah, so this is what I'm talking about. They'll look like now. See that?
Yeah.
Kind of got the sand color
Yeah.
highlight. So
It looks like a desert mech.
yeah, I like doing a lot of desert stuff, and I think maybe it's because of being in the desert that I've kind of got to where, yeah, I paint a lot of shit like desert camo because
It's what you're used to. It's what you know.
it's what I know. But
Too much time spent in the sandbox, huh?
maybe. So yeah, that was a thing, and eventually DAOC ended up making a server specifically for the Chinese. But then the Chinese would try to do shit to get on other non-Chinese servers. It was pretty nuts, you know.
Yep.
It was something.
Yeah, I can't wait for the game tonight. It's going to be kind of interesting. We
Well,
were
I hope.
last thing I remember, one guy almost died. Had something happen to him. We have
Mm,
another one that's with me and my character in a building in this building that we found, or this
right.
little place we found. That person's like on 1 HP sleeping now, and a lot
Yeah.
of crazy stuff.
Yeah, I'm probably not gonna. Well, not probably. I know I'm not going to be running the game tonight because
Ah,
had people who are legit sick, and I'm all like, yeah, we don't need any of that. So rather than play without a couple of people or whatever. We just like we can just wait till next week, whatever. I'll just stream a little bit more, and I mean I finished my chores and everything, so that's good. And
Yeah.
if I get hungry, there's a rotisserie chicken in there, so
I guess I'd just make some fries if I really get hungry.
some French fries. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Or
love
grill
some
some
good
chicken.
I love some good fries. So Dean says hello and then leaves. What's up with that?
I don't know.
So like maybe he's got a game tonight too, and he's just stopping in to be cool.
Yeah. Though tomorrow, making myself some French toast. I like French toast.
Me too. My wife makes homemade waffles, and they are amazing.
I haven't had homemade waffles in a long time.
Yeah, me neither. But on certain occasions, she will bust out the waffle iron and Friday game. Player had a regular cold, other change between fevers and yeah, there's something going around. We've got people with it's either a stomach flu or they eat something bad. You can't really be a member and play a game when you're running to the bathroom like every 5 minutes. That's disruptive. And then another guy's, I think, based on how he described it, he's probably working on an upper respiratory issue, which, I've
Oof.
had. They suck.
Yep.
If they stay too long, you end up going to the doctor and they give you the Z pack and you got to take that. And then you usually be all right. So now I've got this guy done, a Sentinel. I mean, I'm still going to have to do all the detail work, but these guys, everybody says they suck, and they kind of do if you're fighting mechs. But if you're actually fighting, you know, infantry and vehicles, these guys are actually pretty good. It's one of those deals where a lot of people are like, since they only ever played mech versus mech, they're always like,
Well, that one sucks. And it's like,
that one
actually, it's
sucks.
not meant for Max. That's why.
Right. Whereas actually it's loaded full of flamers and machine guns, and there's a reason.
Yep.
Because its whole point is to hunt down infantrymen hiding in buildings and bunkers and delete their asses. And you know, because a lot of the mechs people like to say are the best ones, like the Warhammer. Everybody loves the Warhammer, and uh, the saving grace of the Warhammer is it actually does have machine guns on it. So in a pinch, it can go up and deal with pretty much anything. But a mech that has nothing but large lasers or PPCs is not going to handle infantry very well at all. And when you play Alpha Strike, which has a lot of combined arms and stuff like that involved, if you can't get rid of infantry, you will be in trouble because you can almost guarantee there will be infantry. You know, I mean, right
Yep.
now I'm working on getting painted some of my infantry carriers so that I can transport my infantry all over and harass people. Because that's what you do with infantry. You run around and put them in buildings and forests and wherever you think they're going to be the biggest pain in your opponent's ass. And then you kind of just hang out there, daring your opponent to come do something about it. You know what I mean? That is just the whole deal. So, infantry are pretty good. Pretty good to
It
have.
does remind me of my old war game days that I had.
Reminds you of your what days?
My war game days. Not really much of one, but I played a little bit of a war game.
Yeah. Well, that's just how the battle tech rolls, man. What you think is good Might be really good for a very specific situation, but then if you find yourself in a completely different situation, all of a sudden you start realizing, oh shit, this mech is no good. And then there's some mechs that are always good.
Yeah,
Right. The Thunderbolt and the Grasshopper are always good. No matter
kind of
what you're
wish,
facing, they're always good.
kind of wish the droid echoes were really good in the Star Wars Legion game.
Yeah, well,
They weren't.
it's Star Wars. So,
At least the shotguns were really, really good.
in the role playing game, they're pretty good too.
Oh, fair enough. I mean, I was able to take out an Anakin Skywalker one shot. So,
Yeah, shotguns are a thing in actual the Star Wars universe.
yeah, I know. And they're really good against Jedi.
People tend to use blasters because they're common
Yep.
and they're very reliable. There's basically no moving parts in them.
Yep.
It just uses that gas to. Um, a blaster is basically just a handheld particle projection weapon.
Yep.
It uses kind of like a laser system to agitate the particles in the gas that's in it, and then it shoots those agitated particles downrange. Uh, so in a way, it's like being shot with a shotgun that's firing a bolt with millions upon millions of these particles moving at incredibly high speeds. Um, whereas, slug throwers and stuff like that are absolutely still a thing.
Yep. It's very good against Jedi because their laser swords can't really block it.
Yeah, with buckshot, it's like, yeah, knock yourself out, homie. Try and do
It's
your
like
best.
even if you block one of them, it really just goes through and becomes superheated metal. Congratulations.
Yep, pretty much.
Instead of it just being a slug, a slug, you're basically being hit by like superheated metal. I think you made it worse.
Yeah, but when it comes to firearm type stuff and like a far future thing, as you know, I always think about Traveler first and foremost because Traveler, I think of all the sci-fi games out there, actually is the most realistic, and it's mainly, you know, like in Traveler, laser weapons exist, but they are rare. You know what I mean? Like you're not just going to see anybody with like a laser weapon. They're rare, they're expensive, they're fragile out in the field. Um, so the only time you see people using lasers is like sniper rifles or their, player characters who just want to have a laser weapon. Uh, but like the militaries, even in this far future, are typically all equipped with slug throwers,
Oh,
advanced
I gotta
combat
go. I'll
rifles
see ya.
and shit like that. Catch you later, man. Okay. Oh, my wife's in there watching a cooking channel. She's gonna figure out some new thing to cook for me. Now this mech is not a great mech for sure. This is the Assassin. I mean, it went all in on like speed maneuverability, and as a result, it just doesn't really have the hitting power you would want from a mech its size. You know, that's what happens when people try to over specialize, I guess. Now I need my big brush because I've been actually looking for this. Where is he now? I just had him. I've got this Ghoul King, and it's a really cool looking miniature. And he needs to be painted. There, he's right here. See, this is the Ghoul King. You know, he's like, I know that white you can't see much, but so I'm getting ready to paint him up with some Vallejo Rotten Flesh, and then do whatever details are on him. He's got like a wooden club with a spine wrapped around it. That's kind of wild, right? And then he's got a dagger made out of a bone. So right now his base is really dark, but that's just because I put the first coat of obsidian on it, and it still needs like a slight little dry brush edging up the colors of the bricks and everything with a little bit of maybe a neutral gray. Just something enough to where you can see some differences there. So now the reason you guys never get to really watch me paint is because my hands shake a lot. So the best way for me to stabilize the miniature to paint it is to actually put my forearms next to my body, like on the side there, and hold the miniature directly in front of my stomach. Now, a bad side effect of that is I've ruined basically so many of my tracksuits by getting paint or paint splash all over them, and I'm going to end up just having to throw them away. They're not savable. Um, this shirt I have here is a very, very old shirt that I was issued in the fire department, and it's already got some stains on it, so I'm not too worried about it. But I could never, like how some people for their videos, they dress very nice. I can only do that if I'm not painting, because if I'm painting, the chances of like the paint landing on me are really good. And, you know, like I've got some new shirts I recently ordered from the Northwind Games, the guy who makes Hyperborea. I bought a couple of those actual Hyperborea shirts, but the only way you guys would ever see me is wearing them is if I'm just making a video where I'm talking about something and I'm not like doing a live stream / paint thing like I'm doing now. Then I might wear, something newer and not as covered in stains. But so uh, for those of you who don't know, my homie Bruce Lombardo is running his game today. He runs it on Saturdays, and it is a lot of fun if you're into watching people play, role playing games. He's got a good group, and he's a good DM. I like his setup too. How he's got like he like puts the grid down and then he numbers it and everything. So it's like numbers on one side and then letters down the other side, so that the players who are all playing remote can look at it and say, well, I'm going to move from like A4 to A9, right? And then that way everyone kind of knows exactly what's going on. Because like me, I think Bruce likes to run a game where the combats are tactical. And that's how I am too. I like the combat in my game to be tactical. I don't want, I mean, yes, I've played Theater of the Mind for a long, long time. And honestly, I prefer to just, I mean, a lot, what am I trying to say here? It's like Theater of the Mind is cool and all, but you don't always know exactly where things are. So you're making it up. You're being like, okay, the fireball is going to hit here, and is who it's going to hit, right? There's also, when you play Theater of the Mind, there's room for debate. You know, like a player can be like, wait a minute, that's not what was going on, or this is, so Theater of the Mind almost can turn into a game of cops and robbers where, it's like, well, I couldn't be hit because I was actually here and I wasn't even over there, right? And when you play with miniatures, you never have to worry about that. It's, where your miniature is where you put it, it's where you are. So if something happens that affects your miniature because it's standing in an AoE or something, there's no bitching about it. I mean, you saw where you were, and everybody saw where you were, and when the freaking fireball goes off, it's like you can't be like, oh man, but I actually wasn't there because the DM can just look and be like, no, you actually were right there because that's where you put you. And so to repeat myself, it means there's a lot less debate about things, or even no debate about things, because you know everyone knows the tactical situation. That's I think a lot better. And like I said, the a number one best part is it does prevent arguments. Because if somebody moved a character to an area and then gets whacked by something that's an AoE, they can't really fight with you about it because they're the ones that moved the character to the area they moved the character to. Right? So they can't be like, oh man, or whatever. Now, this doesn't happen to me now because my game group is a lot cooler about stuff and they're not, the kind of people that would argue about anything like that. But then again, we still play with the miniatures. So yeah, there's just no debate basically about it. So let's put the yellow guys over here for a second, separate them from the desert colored guys. And we got the ghoul right there. And let's see what else we're doing. Got the all right, Starship Steel. It's a good color. This figure is done. It just needs the base highlighted a little bit. Actually, a lot of these figures are done. They just need like the base highlighted a little bit. All right, here we've got I think this is a Vindicator. These are House Lao. The Capellans love these little Vindicators. And they are good little mechs, for their weight and everything. They're actually, a lot of times they can hit way above their weight, like there's some mechs that are much heavier than a Vindicator that would really have to watch out if a Vindicator starts popping around. Like I would say, like the standard rifleman would really need to pay attention if they see a Vindicator bouncing around from roof to roof or whatever, because things could go bad really quick. So anyway, though, so we got the ogre. We're gonna let him dry. There's a little bit of a pull you can see right here under his front breast. So I'm gonna go in and just tap it a little bit, and that'll pick it right up. So yeah. So there we go. He's got like his mouth is way open. He's got like this long tongue sticking out. And I'll probably paint that long tongue purple, actually. Like, yeah, I'll paint that like a purple color. Since a lot of times when somebody dies, passes on, their tongue will turn a blue or purplish color. So, yeah, we'll do that. What do we got here? I got a bunch of mechs on my table that I have no intention of ever painting because they're stupid Ilcon era mechs or whatever. Well, maybe one day I'll paint them, let's be honest. I wonder what my brother's doing on this fine Saturday. I know he was up because when the message was posted about there not being a game, he sent a cry face emoji. But, you know, why? Because my players absolutely love the game I'm running. And I can't even say I take credit for it. I think it's not my masterful role playing or DMing. I believe it is just the game itself is so fun that, you know, they're actually just really liking it. And, that's nice. That's really cool, because I know I've been loving it. I can say that. I have been absolutely loving running this game. It has just been, you know, just fun. And and that's a good thing. I mean, I typically have fun running any game, honestly. You know, like depending on how the players react, I'm probably going to have fun. But this game, I think it's just because of some of the weirdness and everything in it. This game is somehow a lot more fun than a lot of other games. And yeah, I think it has a lot to do with just the setting, the fact that the whole weird floating around Saturn, stuff like that is just like super cool. All right, so what I've done is I took some peach flesh and I mixed it with rotten flesh. And I'm painting the basically loincloth slash whatever you would call it skirt he's wearing, because it looks pretty much like it's made out of human skin. All right. And I guess in other D&D settings, you could say it's made out of dwarf skin or whatever, right? But again, since I'm running Hyperborea, the only playable race is humans. So chances are this guy is he made his robes from the skins of dead humans. And as a ghoul king, I have a bunch of ghouls too, right? So as a ghoul king in an encounter, should it happen, and of course it will. I mean, I bought a miniature specifically so that at some point, you know, the players are going to encounter even possibly a city of ghouls, you know, deep under the desert sands and whatever, you know, there could be like a whole warren just full of ghouls. And that could be, you know, what they encounter. And at the top of the hierarchy within that city would be this guy. And he's a big dude too. If you look at, I mean, if I hold him up, if I were to put another miniature next to him, this guy's like 12 feet tall, you know, and incredibly large. So, yeah, he is definitely the king of the ghouls. And any ghoul that would dare to even mess with him would soon find itself on the menu, I guess. I have no idea. I mean, would a ghoul eat another ghoul? And is this really a ghoul or is it like just a gigantic ghast, which would make it even worse, you know? Like a gigantic, intelligent ghast ruling over a whole community of ghouls. And the only thing I do know is if that were to be a case, then the location of this ghoul city would have to be near civilization. Not only near civilization, it would have to be near a large town or a city, actually, because, you know, the ghouls got to eat, right? And how are they eating out in the middle of nowhere, you know, when their whole deal is they like to eat dead human flesh. So, yeah. So, this might be a cool encounter thing to think of and set underneath like the streets of Comorium, you know, which is a massive city in the Hyperborean setting. Yeah, Comorium is like the New York of the setting. It's massive and pretty much just about anything goes there, you know. Like I was saying the other day, if you were walking down the streets of Comorium and you saw a person walking with a skeleton walking behind them carrying all of their bags from whatever shopping or whatever they've been doing, um, if you had lived in Comorium for a little while, that would not even, you wouldn't even blink, you know. Necromancy is not an uncommon thing in Hyperborea. I'm not saying that makes it like a super, everybody loves it. Don't get me wrong, you know. It's not like, oh my goodness, this guy's a necromancer. Let me be his best friend. No, it's just that you know, the use of magic to manipulate the dead is just not uncommon. You know, it happens quite often. There are whole towns, actually, cities, civilizations, whatever, they're kind of based on, you know, necromantic wizards summoning the dead to do, you know, various menial labors and stuff. So, yeah. So, all right, this guy's coming right along. Actually, let's see. Let's spin him around. Yeah, I like the purple tongue on him, and I'm going to give him red eyes. And then right now, I'm going to go ahead and find like my weird wood or some kind of wood color and just do up that. So peachy flesh plus um, rotten flesh for his leather to make it look more like, it was originally human flesh. What is this? Oh, Viridian Games. They sent me a card and they sent me stickers. Which this sticker I like. I might stick this sticker actually on the laptop. You know what I mean? Just the undead skeleton. Yeah, well, obviously undead skeleton. Just a skeleton. Kind of used a word that means the same thing as the other word, didn't I? Yeah. Okay. This is my one-page rules measuring device for basically any war game or skirmish game. So you've got like 8 inches here, boom, 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 boom. And then you've got 3 inches here, and then this is 1 inch here, and this is 2 inches, and then on the other side that's 6 inches, like here, right? So pretty much, if you're trying to move a unit, however you're trying to move it, if it's got like a 4-inch movement, you can just count it out and move it, right? I 3D printed this thing, and the thing is, it's a damn 1/2 inch thick, so it's very strong. It's very strong. I've been using it for Oathmark and for A Song of Fire and Ice and Alpha Strike. It works great with any of them. So yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see now. What do we got here? What are we doing? What are we doing? I got a bunch of colors. I'm letting him dry. Oh, I know what we're doing. We're looking for wood, right? There we go. Is this it? No, that's yeoman flesh. It would work, but it'd make the wood look strange. So never enough, never, never, never enough, never, never enough. Not that anyone ever asked, but this is a Case XX Sodbuster Mini. This is the mini version. I have both. And tell you right now, this is my go-to pocket knife for carrying around and everything. Huge fan of it. Now the full-sized one is bigger. Got like a 4-inch blade and everything. It's almost like a family tradition in my family to carry the sod busters. But it's not always a good thing, since I did have a couple of relatives get in a lot of trouble when they were teens for stabbing some people with that particular brand of knife. And so that's not great. But, things are tough all over, as they say. How can I not find the right green? Here we go. This is the green. And or green, the brown. This is one of my favorite brown colors, though. Chocolate brown. It works good for camouflage. It works good for pretty much. It's like, to me, it's like that generic brown color. So anywhere you would use brown, this stuff typically will work great. Okay, so trying to avoid the freaking spine wrapped around his club. And I'm getting a lot of the spikes too, but I can always come back with the smaller brush and pick out, the spikes. I'll either pick them out in some kind of bone color, or maybe I'll just make them like a grimy metal, you know. I do have some rust colored paints and stuff, so that might be interesting too. If I paint those spikes on his club like a rusty color, and then every time he hits somebody, they might have to make a saving throw, you know, because of the fact that the club is so nasty that if they fail their save, of course, not immediately, because that's not how these things work, but over the course of a few days, they will develop a hellacious infection. And, you know, everything that goes along with that. So, fever and weakness. And then if they don't get rest and maybe some medication, like maybe a druid or somebody goes out in the woods and hunts them down some freaking willow bark or something, uh, then they end up possibly save versus death or die like a week later, though. So it could actually kill you, but it would take a little while to run its course to actually kill you. So yeah, I see. I like that idea. I am fond of that idea actually, because it would make this guy even a little bit more dangerous, and also, it makes sense. You got hit with a really filth covered, rusty, thing, and now you've got to make your save, you know, to not catch or not develop an infection. And if you don't make that save, then you'll have, I figure, maybe die days, or maybe just 8 days. I mean, I don't want to do die because then that would be like, if I just say die, then that would be like a person could die in one day. I don't want that. So maybe I would do something like, you know, between 3 and whatever days, because it does take a bit for, someone to actually pass from, septic or septus. But people would know whenever they started suffering from, like, they're walking around and all of a sudden they get the shakes, and the next thing you know, they're sweating.
Brother,
Brother, why are you hiding, man?
I never show my face on camera. What up?
You have lately, and I've loved seeing it. There's my brother. You in the hospital?
No, I'm at home.
Oh, just laying on your ass.
Yeah, I've been up running around all day.
It's only like 5, right?
Yeah, but I got up at like 6 and cleaned the house, walked the dogs, had coffee, made breakfast.
Oh, my brother. I don't know about you sometimes.
Did some laundry.
Yeah, I'm over here painting a mech that I remember a long time ago thinking it was going to be the best mech ever and playing against you, and this mech totally got wrecked.
Like most of your mechs when you play against me.
Look, everybody know that's bullshit, okay?
Okay. I had to say it anyway.
No, I got the you might remember this guy.
Show
even
him
though
to me.
the original figure looked totally different. The Flash Man.
Yeah. Yeah, I
He's a
remember
big freaking mech full of large lasers and medium lasers.
that overheats and dies really easy.
Yeah, I wasn't super impressed with it. I'll tell you that. I was like, why
Neither
did I
was I.
take this? You know, I was like, I would have been better off with the old Orion as usual.
I'm sorry about the game being canceled tonight.
Well, it's not your fault.
I know, but I'm still sad.
Oh yeah. I totally dig it. I totally dig it. I mean, you know,
That's
but
the one day.
sometimes just
Yeah,
stuff happens. And that's kind of what we're dealing with now. Stuff happens. I mean,
it's the day I
some
look
people are
forward to.
sick.
It's the day I look forward to.
Well, yeah, me too. I was talking about it a lot, but look,
I've missed you all week. Where you been?
who me?
Yeah, you.
I don't even understand what you're saying, man.
I haven't seen you streaming or anything.
Oh! I've been streaming in your slot lately.
I just ain't seen my brother.
Yeah, like the noon slot. That's been where I've been.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but not on my channel though.
With Shadwell.
I have been streaming as a guest with Shadow a lot. And as a result, since I stream with Shadow, a lot of times I don't stream later because it's like, I already did stream once that day. You know what I mean?
So I was thinking, you're gonna be up in Kentucky next month, right?
I am.
From when to when?
Somewhere around Mother's Day or so.
All right, I can get up there on the 13th of next month.
I don't know when that is in relation to what I'm talking about.
I've got doctor's appointments until then.
Well, that is on you, bro. I'm telling you where I'm going to be.
Yeah, I can't miss my doctor's appointments. It took me months to get them.
Yep. So, like I said, I'm telling you where I'm going to be, and if you can get there, get there. And if you
I'm
can't,
going to do my best. I got a
then
cardiologist.
spend the rest of your life in misery, knowing that you effed up.
I got a cardiologist appointment and
You got a good heart.
and a kidney doctor appointment that I got to go to.
Ain't nothing wrong with your heart, is there?
Besides the stents and the triple bypass I had, nah, my heart's perfect.
Well, I would think all those bypasses and shit would have made your heart better. I mean, well, better than it was anyway, right?
Yeah, but my blood pressure's been acting stupid. One day it'll be way high, and the next day it'll be low.
Yeah, that's I don't know if that has anything to do with your heart.
Yeah, well, the heart doctors or cardiologists are the ones who deal with that shit.
That's true. They are the ones who deal with it, but I'm not a doctor though, so my opinions.
You just play one on TV?
I don't even play one on TV. I'm not a doctor. I don't know.
And
I shouldn't even open my mouth about anything.
Yeah, I'm not a doctor either because neither one of us have that much patience.
You are a joker, aren't you?
Yeah, but I love you.
Are you a midnight toker?
Yeah.
Do you take your loving on the run?
I take my love any way I can get it. Some people do call me Maurice.
Yeah, some people do call you Maurice. And you speak of the impetus of love. Yeah.
You know who taught Steve Miller how to play guitar?
No.
He's a little bit famous. His name's Les Paul.
Oh, well,
the guy who invented the best guitar ever.
I don't know anything about any of that, but I do know that Stevie Ray Vaughan played like backup for somebody before he was famous. Like he got invited on stage
Yeah.
to play for somebody,
Yeah.
and you'll never guess what's his name, Michael McDonald.
Yeah.
He was called up to play keyboards for Steely Dan.
Well, yeah, he's Michael freaking McDonald.
No, he was a nobody.
Yeah, but
And
he's
it was
still Michael.
basically a friend of a friend told a friend who happened to be in Steely Dan that they knew a guy
Who could play keys.
who
Yeah.
could play keyboards, right? So they called him and they're like, "Hey, we need somebody on keyboards." And he's like, "Okay, when?" And they're like, "Now." So he jumped in his beat up piece of shit Japanese, compact car, drug his ass all the way across town to where they were, walked in, and they were like, "Okay, let's see what you got."
And he
And
tore the
he
house
started
down.
playing, and then he ended up, you know, touring with them,
And then he
and
joined the
then
Doobie Brothers.
eventually, huh?
And then he joined the Doobie Brothers.
Well, he did a lot of solo stuff too.
Yeah. He's Michael McDonald. He's like one of the goats.
Well, yeah, when it comes to the Blue-Eyed Soul, definitely. But and yeah, so he did some solo stuff, and he hit up the Doobie Brothers. But then there's another guy. What is his name? He also was in the Doobie Brothers, and he also was like a brown-haired, bearded white dude. Who am I thinking? Christopher Cross.
I love Christopher Cross.
Yeah. I'm gonna run like the wind.
Takes me away to where I'm going.
Yeah, so there was a little bit of like cross pollination between.
And that is why Michael McDonald is on Ride Like the Wind.
Yep. And it was because they were basically playing with the same groups.
When you get caught between the moon and New York.
Well, I mean, and like I always say, one of my favorite things in the world
is Blue Eyed Soul.
Not do anything really, is watching black guys, young black guys, listen to like Michael McDonald or something like that for the first time.
Yeah.
And they're all like, "That's a white guy?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
when they listen to Teddy Swims for the first time, they're like, "What?"
Yeah. If
All
you
right,
really want to see some people losing it, you watch like the black women listening to Bring
Chris
Back That Lovin' Feeling. They start crying and shit.
or
Yeah.
Chris Stapleton, Tennessee Whiskey. Watch the sisters listen to Tennessee Whiskey.
Oh yeah. Some of those sisters is pretty fucking thirsty too.
Yeah. I had a perfect ride home today after I dropped Corn Dog off from work because it was Africa by Toto, which,
I know who
and
doesn't.
Michael McDonald,
Which
and
one?
then Keep Forget I'm Not in Love Anymore. And then
Oh.
after that, it was Baker Street.
Oh man. So Africa, Keep Forgetting We're Not in Love Anymore, and Gary Rafferty.
Baker Street, yes.
Actually, my favorite Gary Rafferty song is probably Right Down the Line, though. Butterfly.
That's a great song. But those three songs playing on my Spotify playlist back to back to back.
It just means Spotify knows what you like.
Yeah, they do.
They're like, this dude wants to listen to some classic rock and some blue-eyed soul.
The only way it could have got better if they would have
Gary Rafferty is.
The only way it could have got better if they would have thrown in some Hall & Oates.
Which Hall & Oates song would you have picked?
My favorite Hall & Oates song is Sarah Smile. But I like all Hall & Oates songs.
I'm kind of a basic bitch when it comes to.
Yeah, I like them all.
It's like, for me, it's either Out of Touch or Man Eater.
Won't you smile a while for me, Sarah?
The song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that one where they talk about take a walk in the city and choke on the carbon monoxide?
Right.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
I like to watch reactions too because again, it's like it's not the older black guys. The older black guys, they know. You know what I mean? Like the Gen X black dudes, they know. It's like
Oh,
the young ones.
when they find out the guy who sang "Won't Do for Love" is a white dude.
Yeah, I love that reaction. You know what I won't do for love, and it's like you got all these young dudes sitting there, and all of a sudden he walks out into the light, and they're like got this shocked look on their face, like it's like,
Won't
and
do,
that dude's like Australian or some shit.
do for love.
Yeah, I guess you wonder where I am. Yeah,
Won't find the love again. I come back to let you know I got a thing for you.
and I
And I
won't let
won't let
go.
go.
Yeah, so that's a to me. I don't know. I love the idea of people like experiencing something totally new for that first time. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
That's like, and I'll tell you what, I actually had one of the women respond back to me, and
Dude, you were on a React video yourself.
yeah, yeah, somebody did one of those compilation React videos, and I'm on it.
Yeah.
I only knew that because like a person in Discord sent me this link, and they're like, "Hey, bro," and I'm like, "What?" It's that one dude that did Richmond North of Richmond.
Yeah, you were on his. You were sitting there like your eyes were all wide and shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the dude is hammering it out, and the style of guitar he's using is very much a classic Appalachian.
Yeah,
Um,
that was pure bluegrass, dude.
it's unfortunate that the guy, or maybe fortunate for him, I don't know, that after he could have been basically super famous, he kind of said a bunch of stupid shit. I mean, but if he was speaking from his heart, then that's good.
Yeah, he decided he didn't want to be rich or famous.
Yeah, but if it had been me, I think I would shut my mouth about my personal opinions, and I'd have rolled that shit right into,
Oh yeah.
an
You
album or
need
something,
you
but
need to check out Billy Strings.
I think what happened, and it's not even that dude's fault, but when he sang Richmond North of Richmond, he wasn't trying to like draw a line as far as political party.
No.
And a lot of people thought he was. And then when he corrected that and he said, I'm talking about Republicans and Democrats, then a lot of the Republicans that supposedly really loved him turned their backs on him
Well, of course.
because they're like, oh, well, F you then, because we thought this was, a
Just
song
like
about hardworking, right leaning people.
they turn their back on him just like they do the rest of the population once they get in office.
Well, I would say that's true for both parties.
Oh yeah. I I agree with you 100%.
Yeah,
Both parties.
I wouldn't blame. And I would actually defend the current commander in chief only because no matter what you say about him, you can't say he's not trying to do something. I mean, you might not like what he's trying to do, but he is definitely out there doing stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and after the last how many years where no one even knew if that dude was alive, which he pulled another snafu the other day. I don't know if you saw it. He was giving a speech and he turned around and there's like some, I don't know who he even was, but let's say a random black guy standing behind him, called that dude Obama and made him come up and stand next to him. And then when he, I guess, realized it wasn't Obama, he was like, yeah, doesn't this guy look just like Obama? And like a lot of people were just kind of like, so what are you trying to say here? Like we all look alike? Is that, I mean, so it, it's like, but anyone who actually thinks that that particular old boomer ass dude didn't have some like opinions that wouldn't be popular in the modern day is an idiot. I mean, one of his best friends was like the Grand Kleagle of the Ku Klux Klan or some shit.
Yeah.
He went to the dude's funeral, talked about what an awesome guy he was. It's like
They all crazy.
yeah. Now the war overseas is going well. It should be over soon. And if not, Trump said, they can either surrender and do it, the way he wants, or he'll just bomb the fuck out of them. And I'm like, well, we already paid for the bombs.
Yeah.
And fuel costs are going up everywhere in the world except here.
Really? Because it's almost $4 a gallon up here.
Yeah, it's dropping. It's dropping. Of course, it spiked, and that has nothing to do with the president or anything. That just has to do with the fuel companies realizing, hey, we can jack prices up and make a shit ton of money because there's no law.
It's fucked
So
up.
every time anything in the world happens, if they think that they can use that as an excuse to milk your ass at the pump, they're going to do it.
Oh yeah, they don't
right?
care.
But eventually, it gets to the point where people have to realize that, hey, these guys are ripping us off. Then they have to go back.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of the price hikes that people were dealing with, they're really artificial. Is basically what I'm saying. A lot of it's just artificial, so that a particular corporation can milk a few more shekels out of you.
That's why I only drive about an average of 6 miles a week.
Mm-hmm.
I take Corn Dog to work and I drive to the grocery store.
Right. And the thing is, I'm not even so much horribly complaining that they do it, but I understand that yes, they do it. You know what I mean? But a lot of people, the same people who said all of the shortages and everything under the last administration wasn't the president's fault, are now claiming that it is the current president's fault.
Yeah.
And, I guess as a sort of not really centrist, that's the kind of stuff that I'm just like, really, guys?
Yeah, shit's too biased one way or the other.
It's like, because a lot of these people that are saying these things are not idiots. They're smart people. They got eyeballs. They can see, right? And it's like, okay, if this guy did all this shit, which sucked, and this guy's doing stuff, and it also kind of sucks, then why were you cool when the last guy did some sucky stuff, but you're all up in arms when this guy does sucky stuff? I think, more than anything else, is the thing that bothers me about our politics.
Yeah, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander.
I think that more than anything else is why I've kind of become a monarchist.
Yeah.
And a lot of people hate that, boy. Let me tell you, like Turning Point USA and all that shit, they would not like my beliefs because I'm monarchist. And I think we would be better off with a king. So that's not a popular viewpoint at all. Now, I'm not saying a totalitarian king. Obviously, I would want there to be like a parliamentary system to rein his ass in if he got too freaking buck wild. But the main reason I would like to have a king, believe it or not, is it would be like a massive cost savings. You know that?
Yeah.
And do you know how? because don't agree with me if you don't know. It's
All right.
always
How
better
would
to
it be
ask.
a major cost saving?
See, that's better. If you don't know, just ask. Because the United States, due to our electoral systems, spends probably upwards of billions of dollars every 2 to 4 years.
On Israel?
No, trying to get assholes here elected.
Yeah.
I mean, those campaigns aren't free, right? Meanwhile, if you replace that with a, enlightened monarchist system, um, you wouldn't even need elections. You know what I mean? And that means a bunch of money saved. Now, if you needed which I 100% believe you would need people who represent the people, so a parliamentary system under the monarch, that even wouldn't have to be an election. That could be like just somebody from each district, whatever, however you want to divide everything up, being put there. Now, you could do it by election, or you could just, have them picked to fill a spot.
Yep.
And if it were me, what I would do is I would have the representatives sent to Parliament be picked by the governor of the state. Right?
That makes sense.
And that way, everything works out. But and the other main reason I think parliamentary or monarchisms are better is monarchies typically throughout history last much, much longer than any other form of government.
Yeah.
And the reason is stability. If you have a king and he rules for 50 years, chances are that regulations and stuff aren't going to change. Therefore, if you're a businessman, you already know, like, the tax system and everything like that. It's probably never going to change. It's just going to be what it is, right? But yeah, it's going to be super stable, let's say. But in our current system, every time the new guy gets in office, the first thing he wants to do is dismantle everything the old guy did. And so everything's always changing. And that costs so much time, labor, money, because if you own businesses or anything like that, there's no guarantee for you. It's like you own this business, you pay these taxes, but when the next guy gets elected in, he could immediately up how much taxes you pay or take away some of those. It could just go either way, right? And yeah, I don't think that's just a very effective system. Plus, I mean, not to be away, but in the Bible it says that the monarchy is literally the only form of government that they ever mention, right? And the Greeks themselves hated democracies. They wrote about it quite a lot.
Walk the dogs.
All right, George, how are you doing, my good pal George? I hope you're having a wonderful Saturday, a blessed Saturday. I don't know who Timmy Dean Amanda Molston is.
Well, Timmy, Dean Powell, and I don't know the last one.
Oh, so yeah, he's saying Leth, Dean Powell, and Amanda Molston. There was a guy up there, so he's just saying hi to people in chat. Thank you, Hungar.
Yeah.
You saved my butt because I was like, what are we talking about? I'm like, is he speaking Greek? Because I don't know very much Greek at all. I know, like, Christos Anasti, but that's about it, really. I mean,
he's just saying hi to everybody.
Actually, the good thing about Greek is a lot of people, if you see something written in Greek and you understand the Greek alphabet, you can kind of guess what they mean a little bit. mainly because so many of our words have the root word in Greek that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you can kind of be like, okay, this kind of mean, Latin's like that too. Like somebody posted like a whole Latin thing the other day, and I surprised myself in that I was able to, recognize like about a quarter of the words, like via and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, yeah, it's all Greek to me, right? That was not only is that a popular saying, but one of my favorite movies of all time. That is what the father of the groom says when they're at a party. And that movie, of course, is My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Because the groom is like the most Anglo to ever Anglo anywhere in the world. And his family are just the same. They're like super Anglo, super uptight, wealthy Anglo American, or as some people would call them, WASPs, white Anglo Saxon Protestant. And then the son marries into a Greek Orthodox family of all Greeks. I'm sure everyone here has seen it. But yeah,
The
they're at
Greekest
the
of
wedding and
Greeks.
everybody's like dancing and stuff. And the mother of the groom is like, "What? Why did they say?" And the dad is by that time lit because he'd just been feeding him ouzo, and he just looks at her and says, "I don't know, it's all Greek to me." And I thought, well, that's cute. That's a good movie. Oh yeah, I love that. That is one of my favorite characters too. That the aunt. I forget her name, which I'm ashamed of. But Tula's aunt.
Aunt
What?
Zorba.
Now, maybe is it? What you mean you don't eat no meat?
I make you lamb.
Yeah, it's okay. I'll make you lamb. It's like okay. I mean, but I get it because the recent past of the Greeks was so rough. They basically scavenged the hillsides just not to die under the various occupations they had to live through. So the idea that someone would choose actively not to eat something is was she? Yeah, I liked her character. I thought her character was awesome. But yeah, that's kind of where she's coming from though. Because you have to remember that the Greeks, one, were completely mistreated by the Ottomans, and then World War II happened, and the Germans rolled in and basically took everything you could eat. So you had old Greek women wandering the hillside picking greens and shit, just to have something. And, just being such a poor country that got invaded so much, they learned that you eat what you had, And the idea that, like I said, somebody would be like, oh no, I mean, I'm not going to eat that. It's like, are you crazy? Because you never know. It's like, I guess why sometimes me and some of my nieces, I'm away about their supposed vegetarianism or veganism. Because
Eat your food.
I remember, yeah, when you ate
Mia.
because you didn't know, like, well, no, it wasn't that bad for us. We always knew there'd be at least beans and cornbread. But you didn't F around with it. You know what I mean? You ate.
It's dinner time. You come and eat what's on for dinner.
Right. Like, it's so wild. Even my kids, when I raised them, the fact that they had opinions about what we should eat. And I let them because I'm a nice enough guy, especially with my own children, right? But like in my heart, I'm just like, when I was young, I never got to request anything. It was you eat what I cook. And if you don't want to eat what I cook, well, then I guess you don't eat. So it is so wild. But I've said this a lot. I don't know if this is political or not to say it. Your aunt kept a knife in case she saw some greens. Yeah, right. See, it's so funny because my grandma and people of her generation, they would also wonder about foraging. And in that way, we ate a lot of greens. As a matter of fact, some people would eat polk salad. We never did, but uh, dandelion greens, mustard greens, obviously, pretty much any kind of root vegetable you grew, if you could eat the greens, we did. And, and that was just perfectly fine for me. I never questioned it. I mean, and to this day, I love a big bowl of pinto beans with greens on the side. I mean, that's like heaven, you know? And it also gets me through a lot of the fasts for the church when I remember to observe them, because a lot of times I don't remember, and then when I do remember, it's too late. I've already ate. Like,
We had options growing up. When
yeah,
mom would ask us if we wanted something to eat, our options were yes or no.
yeah, that was the option. Um, and yes, I don't want anyone to think that I was like somehow um, like not taken care of. We always had way more food than we could eat. It was just always kind of the same food, and that means beans. If the season was right, sliced tomato. Um, Again, if things were right, then we would have
Fried taters.
fried taters. Always cornbread, and our cornbread was not sweet and was kind of gritty and rough. And sometimes venison would be on the menu because, a lot of hunting. And also pork would be on the menu quite a bit because raised and butchered pigs. And if you raise a Lancashire to about 400 pounds, I mean, by the time you butcher it, that's like 300 pounds worth of meat, you know, depending. So, yeah, beef was something we didn't get a lot of because, um, like my mom and her parents had a milk cow, and there's no way under any circumstances that milk cow was ever getting ate. The milk was too valuable.
Milk cow.
And we always, 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 one thing I can say, we were definitely not malnourished because our families owned like 50 plus chickens. And though we didn't ever really eat chickens, we always had eggs. Like every morning, grandma would put like a plate full of fried eggs in the middle of the table, and there might be like 20 damn fried eggs there.
Eggs, biscuits, gravy.
Eggs, biscuits, gravy.
Usually
every morning.
sausage.
What?
Usually sausage.
Sometimes some sausage, yeah. Rarely, if ever, bacon. Occasionally, but not often. More often sausage and ham, really. What'd you say?
I said you got me hungry, so I'm making myself dinner.
Well, the wife was going to make this dinner casserole for everybody, and then sicknesses happened.
Yeah.
And then, so you know how I know she doesn't feel good? She's taking a nap.
You never takes naps.
She only ever takes a nap when she is feeling like crap. That is like 100% a true story when it comes to my wife. If she's not feeling good, she takes a nap. So she is not feeling good. And, but luckily, the casserole she was going to make required a rotisserie chicken. So when she realized she was sick and she wasn't going to be able to cook and everything, I ended up being the sole possessor of a whole rotisserie chicken. And
Yeah,
dandelions to chickens. Oh yeah, yeah. I remember when I was in the Boy Scouts, when I was a bit older, obviously. We went out hunting dandelions and bringing them back and learned all these different things you can do with them. Um, so yeah, the dandelions are more than just you pick the flower off of them and blow all the little things in the wind. Like they're actually good for you.
Yeah, when we were in the Boy Scouts, I was the youngest one, and I was the only one who knew how to cook.
Right. I remember those tinfoil mills we had. Those were
Yeah.
interesting. Just put everything in a tinfoil, throw it in the fire for a while. But yeah, our chickens usually got split yellow corn and whatever else that either we threw at them or they found.
Potato pills and shit.
Yeah. And the hog was the same way. It got pretty much whatever we didn't eat. So,
I'm going to make myself a ribeye with some sauteed bella mushrooms.
dude, were you rich eating like that?
No, I just buy a shop smart and then bulk.
You shop smart?
A shop S smart.
Oh, you go. That's what I was waiting to hear. Shop smart, shop S smart, right? This here, this here beauty is what was a Remington whatever, blued steel barrel and a walnut stock
With a hair trigger.
with a hair trigger. This baby will set you back $199 at S Smart. Remember? Oh, it's made in Grand Rapids, Michigan, right?
And the next one of you primates that even touches me.
Yeah, and then he shoots the witch back down the pit. Blam. Everybody's just like, oh shit. That's so weird because I have a feeling, having watched those movies probably 100 times, all of them, I have a feeling that when they made the first Evil Dead, they were being serious.
Yeah.
Like they were trying to make a horror movie, but then it didn't really work. So, and then they made the second Evil Dead, and I think, yeah, they're still trying to see if they could make a horror movie, and it just still didn't work. So when they made Army of Darkness, they were like, F it, we're making a comedy, which is what they were making all along anyway, even if they didn't know they were. Because, I mean, come on. Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell has terminal cancer.
Oh, that sucks. Like one of the funniest parts in those movies is the scene where he's sitting there and he hears the clock start ticking, and then like all of the mounted heads on the wall start like freaking out, and he just starts screaming and laughing with them like he's losing his mind and shit. And it's just like,
All I know is definitely when I go freaking senile and I'm going to be an old man, I'm going to be sitting there trying to remember my favorite words. I'm going to be like, it's definitely an N word. Get on the couch. Lay down.
ninja.
Freaking
Yeah,
ninja.
ninja. Yeah, I was watching Asmongold yesterday, and some like one of these TikToker famous guys went to England, and he went into a kebab shop to order something, and like some dude started like seriously like basically harassing him and his boyfriend or his girlfriend, whatever. Like walking up behind her and pretending like he's grabbing her ass and shit. And watching that video kind of made me mad.
Yeah.
Because I was like, if that happened where I am, that guy would be 6 foot under for sure.
Might be getting dealt with.
He would either be going to prison or he'd be catching some freedom pills.
Yeah.
But because the British people have been completely disarmed of any ability to protect themselves,
Yeah.
the guy who was an American had to just sit there and like take it and try not to get killed, because I guess the other guy had a knife or some shit.
Yeah, I'd have taken that knife and made him eat it.
Well, the guy we're talking about's a little guy, bro. He's not a big guy. The guy who was threatening definitely was a much bigger guy. And like I said, had a knife.
There's some shit worth dying for.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's the problem, I think, with most people is they're too much in love with their own lives. And it's like, if you're too in love with your own life, it will make you unable to do some things that, you just have to do, even though those things may lead to your demise.
Some things have to be done.
Huh?
You got to do some things.
Yeah, but you hear what I'm saying, though, that with a lot of younger generation, they people have been taught that the only thing that really matters is the material stuff.
Yeah.
And not for everyone, obviously. I mean, the ortho bros know better, but the poor atheists and Protestants, they're just never going to get it. That sometimes there are some things that you just have to die for.
If you don't have anything to die for, then you really don't have anything to live for.
Right. So that guy, he took that and let that guy treat his woman away. Like, she didn't actually get, anything really bad, but still, because he was too in love with living. Now, me, I'm not sure. Well, no, I am sure because I have a past, so I know. I've been in that situation before, and I know exactly how I go. Like when I was at Pleasure Island, that guy smacked my then wife's ass. It was on. I didn't even say anything. It was like as soon as it happened, it was on.
Yeah.
And then I ended up in jail. But it's so sad, And I'm sitting here watching this guy just bully this guy in front of his girlfriend. And it's just like, this is bullshit, man. This is bullshit. I feel bad for her. I feel bad for him. I wonder, like, what the chances are that she ends up dumping him when they get back home.
That's what I'm thinking too. It's like that relationship's not going to be very long lived after that. Because a woman can't be with a guy that she knows will not protect her.
Because the number one thing in the majority of women's mind is, am I safe?
Yeah.
That is the thing that rattles around in a woman's mind nonstop. Am I safe? And if she don't think she's safe, then why is she with you? Like when I always talk about dating Russian women and how they are, it's not that the Russian women are weird. It's just that they're like every other woman, just cranked up to 11.
Yeah.
They want their man to be a protector.
They want to know that nothing's going to happen to them.
Right. And so, if that girl he's dating happens to be Eastern European, he's definitely done. Because, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because the second that he stood there and let that other man disrespect her like that, and he just took it, he's done. And again, it's sad, because if they were in the United States, like I said, in a good state like Florida, and someone started acting out like that, it would be like handled quick.
I've got a mystery mouse tool.
Yeah, let's save this. It'll be useful later, right? Whatever he says.
Doodles.
Yeah, so I saw it. It was on Asmongold, and I watched it happen, and I was just like, one, where are the police? And two, how is this happening? Like, But this is why sometimes you and I have a difficult time understanding the point of view of other people.
Yeah, because there's just shit that we're not going to put up with.
Oh yeah, there's just like
You're not going to disrespect my woman. You're not going to disrespect me or my family.
right. See, luckily I broke myself of the throwing bones every time somebody said something about my mom or something. So
Now, if
now
it's
I can take a mama joke, you know what I mean?
well, if it's our friends and us hanging out, ripping on each other and shit, and somebody says something about your mama, I'm always like, I'm going to tell her you said that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Ooh, I'm gonna tell her. And then they're like, oh shit.
But I'm not going to let some fucking stranger
Yeah,
call
walk up and just start
me.
acting like they're gonna grab your wife's ass and shit in
Oh,
public.
oh no.
Yeah, that's no. That is a
I've got a
no-go from
credit
the
card that
start.
will post any bill that I need.
Yeah, that's a no-go from the start, you know. And see, in this situation, the guy that got abused said the other guy had a knife. So, again, if that had taken place in the great state of Florida, the guy with the knife would just be dead because there's no prosecutor in the world that would prosecute you for taking a guy out that was harassing your girlfriend
With a knife.
and brandishing a knife. It's like, if you're in Polk County, the sheriff might actually come to wherever you are to give you like a medal for taking a scumbag out. But
Yeah.
again, England, and here's the thing: a lot of people don't know. You know how we're having so much problems with certain members of NATO
Yeah.
about the war in Iran. Do you know why we're having those problems?
Because their countries are full of Iranians.
Well, not Iranians specifically, but people who share that same
Oh,
ideology.
with a bunch of slims.
And so Britain has to consider if they actually back the US against an Arab state, are all the Muslims, well, Persia's not an Arab state, but are all the Muslims in England going to start trying to blow shit up again? Because back during the Iraq War, the British backed us, and they went through years of not just nonstop domestic terrorism.
Yeah.
From people who had lived in the country for more than one generation, even.
Yeah. It's stupid.
And France is even worse.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I try to explain that to some people whenever we're talking, and they're like, I can't believe they're being that way. And I'm like, well, I can, and here's why. Because the British are basically terrified that if they actually side with the United States, that their excessively large Muslim population is just going to freak out. We even have it here, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we have it, but we ignore them. And Florida made Sharia completely against the law and all that. But I mean, we've had so many attacks that were directly related to our actions overseas versus some of these countries. There was the guy that shot up the recruiting station, the guy that shot up Fort Hood, an attempted attack at Fort Stewart. I mean, yeah, these guys are not U.S. citizens so much as they are enemy operatives that have somehow gotten into the country, and now they're working, their asses off to destroy this country.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, there are people in this country,
Who just want to keep bringing them in.
right? And it's like, I think a big part of it is that, like, the communists in America, and there are communists in America, they know that in order for communism to ever take over America, America has to be destroyed first.
Yeah.
Like they have to put America in such a bad place that there's government collapse, and then people start screaming for the communists to come in and fix things. You know, which of course they never do, but whatever. And so that's kind of the whole deal with accelerationism, where people, and some people on the like far, they would call it right, they vote for accelerationism too. So you've got people who actually are voting for candidates that they know or think will lead to the downfall of our civil government. And if you're a communist, you think that it's because the communists will be able to take over and be in power. And if you're the other side, you think it's because if a civil war kicks off, all of the left side people will get wiped out in a massive bloodbath. And you're just trying to manipulate everything so that that will happen. Either way, you know, it's not good.
Yeah, either way, it's messed up.
Yeah, like Nick Fuentes, his whole deal is accelerate. Yeah, he wants the U.S. to get so horrible that it causes a revolution, because he believes that if a revolution happens, then all of the people he doesn't like are going to get wiped out. And he might be right, because I have a hard time believing like the far left blue guys would ever, you know, it's like they're good at rioting and throwing shit at cops that can't do anything back. But I don't think they'd know what to do if a bunch of good old boys showed up armed to the teeth and just started whacking people, you know?
Yeah, they'd be like running and crying.
Right. And the thing is, if the government had collapsed, well, then who are they running and crying to? You see what I mean?
Their safe space.
But there is none. It's done, you see?
Exactly.
And so, like the guys on the left that are talking about civil war, I don't think even they understand what they're talking about, you know? Because it's like, really? If a civil war kicks off and you live in Chicago, the first thing you need to understand is you're screwed. You are completely screwed. And they'll be like, well, how? It'd be like, because all the places that grow the food you eat hate your guts. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So,
And there, it goes even further than that, bro. You're in Chicago. You always like hating and shooting at cops and stuff. But it's a civil war, and the cops have no restrictions anymore.
oh, and they're not going to be on your side no matter what's happening.
Yeah, because you always
Because you've
shoot and
just been
kill
a
them.
dick the whole time anyway.
You know, people who
So,
like go out of their way to kill cops.
Go ahead.
So the people who go out of their way to kill cops and stuff, when the system collapses,
Yeah.
the
like
cops
I
aren't
said,
going to take that shit no more.
well, like I said, who are they going to call?
Mm-hmm.
Because the cops are not going to be like, oh, yeah, let's go out and help those assholes that used to throw bricks at us and shoot at us all the time. Nah, that's not happening.
Or they'd be driving through the neighborhood and somebody pop a shot off at them, and they'd just unload on them.
Well, I'll tell you what, if the cops are smart and shit starts looking like it's getting ready to crack off like that, they would be, if they lived like in a northern blue city, the best thing they could do is hop in their car, grab their loved ones, and move to like Alabama.
Yep.
Right? And then they probably won't have to worry about all that shit. And after a couple of weeks, the people in New York and Chicago will start eating each other because, you know,
They have nothing else to eat.
right. And maybe they'll put together like a gang to start raiding outside of the city. But the problem with that is eventually they're going to get to some place like Kentucky or something. And when they come in there with their wanting to raid around, they're just going to get freaking handled. and that'll just be the end of all that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like when those people were protesting in Ohio, and they were like protesting ICE or something, and they were walking across the bridge from Ohio towards Kentucky. You know, that bridge between Lexington and Cincinnati, right?
Yeah.
The second they stepped on the Kentucky side of that bridge, Kentucky state troopers beat the fuck out of them. And it's like, welcome to Kentucky. We are not Ohio. You might be able to get away with blocking the streets and acting like an asshole in Ohio.
It don't happen here, buddy.
You're not doing it down here. We don't care for that at all, right? And I remember that was on the news and people were trying to spin it like, oh, look at these Kentucky cops are so terrible. And it's like, one, the people protesting were all from Ohio. Maybe they should have stayed there, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, you're from Cincinnati. Why don't you just stay in Cincinnati? Because ain't nobody in the great Commonwealth sent you a letter being like, hey, come on down to Lexington. See, I could understand that if they had been marching towards Louisville.
Yeah.
Because Louisville's full of idiots anyway. So I'd have been like,
Southern Ohio.
huh?
I call Louisville Southern Ohio.
Right. It's basically should be a part of Ohio, honestly. So if they were marching to Louisville, I'd have been like, all right, whatever. And they probably wouldn't have got jumped the way they did. But being more on the eastern side of the state, trying to walk to Lexington like that, that's, I mean, anyone with a brain, even the Ohio people should have known that, hey, this shit is not going to work out. We need to just not do this. But, you know, a lot of these opinions, I think, are from me listening to Asmongold too much.
I'd like Asmongold.
Yeah, he's a little left for me, but the places where he and I agree, we agree a lot.
Yep.
Like the places where we disagree a lot too, you know? Like
Well,
he
brother,
don't care about a lot of stuff that I think is just morally, ethically wrong. But where we agree, which is F around with the cops, don't cry when you get your ass whipped. Yeah, we agree with that 100%. You know,
brother, I'm going to have to bounce out of here because I got to get ready to go get corn dog.
you bounce out then. I'll just be here doing my thing.
I love you.
I love you more.
Bye.
Bye. So, just me and my one viewer, whoever you are. Thank you for hanging and banging, baby. That's what Double D said about hanging and banging about me. Like, I guess he figures that's something I would say. And he's not wrong. You know, he's not wrong. You know, what are you up to? You know, actually, the thing I say more often than anything is living the dream. But the reason for that is because I'd never even heard of the living the dream thing until I got hired by the fire department when I was a much younger man, like 25 years ago. And so I picked it up there because anyone you ask, like, how you doing, what's going on, blah, 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 you know, the answer with the firemen was always, you know, living the dream. That was always the answer. What are you doing? I am living the dream. And then you'd be like, cool, you know. You know, you go into the hospital, if one of the ER nurses asks how you doing, it's living the dream. And that just becomes so normalized to me that it's now it's just like habit. If somebody asks me what I'm doing, I a lot of times automatically will be like living the dream. But there was a time when I was in my teen years where my response would have been hanging and banging, you know, where, let's be honest, I wasn't doing really either of those, especially not the last one. Your boy is what people would call a late bloomer, a very late bloomer, let's say. Like had no idea how to deal with women until I got out of the army, late bloomer, and even then still didn't. But when I got out of the army, I was no longer the super skinny little nerd, you know. And it is true, chicks love a uniform. They sure do. Whether it's a military, cop, firefighter, it doesn't matter. Women love a uniform. Ugh. I wonder what my beard looks like. Let's have a look at this. That's pretty gapped up, but not too bad. Oh, look at that gap. Oh my God. Yeah. I didn't tell my brother that I'd cut my beard mostly off. I'm a bad brother. I definitely should have told him. He would have wanted to know. Okay, so while I'm here, I have some of these like hordes of spiders. I'm thinking I'm just going to do the primer on them, let that dry, because it's really good to let your primer dry a while, and then hit them with like greasy black, which is kind of like a black, but also it has like a lot of brown undertone. And that should be a good enough because, I mean, yes, there's a lot of detail, but at the end of the day, it's just a mob of spiders, It's like, I guess I could paint them black and yellow and whatever, like a bunch of banana spiders. But then the question is, what are a bunch of banana spiders doing wherever these guys are? I mean, they look more like black widows or something like that. They don't look like a banana spider at all, or a wolf spider, or anything like that. I need to go one of these times. I need to go on Reaper and see if they sell like a jumping spider, a giant jumping spider. I think that would be kind of cool, like a fox spider or whatever. They're pretty much my favorite kind of spider. Jumping spiders. Yeah, they're really cool. And no lie, you can kind of make buddies with them, Like if you get one to get on your hand and let it climb up your arm and everything, after a few moments of that, they'll relax right down and, start acting like they're right at home, I've never had nor heard of anybody who got bit or anything by the little fuzzy jumping spiders. I mean, I'm sure it's probably happened, but I've never heard of it. So I don't know, right? Probably has happened, but yeah. So I really like them. Sometimes here in Florida, you can go out and occasionally you'll find one like climbing around your freaking mailbox or something, and they're all like, a lot of times they have like this really cool metallic green eyes, and they'll have like it's almost like the same color fur as like a red fox. And yeah, I've always just been a huge fan of that. Like in the modern day, I don't think I would like own a tarantula or anything like that. But okay. Okay. There we go. Yeah. Like when I was younger, I might have thought about owning spiders. I did own a rose hair tarantula, and it was cool, but you know, some people would say I'm too soft-hearted for that. Like, this is a true story. One time, I caught a big old corn snake. It was probably about yard long at least, right? It was big, orange and brown, really cool. And I threw it in an aquarium we had laying around. And I was thinking, okay, I got this big, you know, snake, big rat snake, whatever, corn snake, and I'm going to keep it. You know, I'll feed it and take care of it, and it'll be my pet, right? And so I went to the pet store and I bought like a white rat to feed to my pet snake. And then I came home from that store and I put the rat in with the snake. And the rat looked so terrified of the snake that I felt so bad I let the snake go and I kept the rat. You know, I just could not stand there and watch that snake kill that rat. I couldn't do it. And it was mainly because whether the rat was actually had any sort of whatever thoughts about it or not, being a human, I started, overlaying how the rat was acting with my own human emotion. So I'm sitting there watching, and to me, I felt like the rat was just terrified. It was hiding in a corner and shaking. And I was like, this rat knows what's getting ready to happen to it. So from that point, I was like, yeah, I can't do this. I cannot, in good conscience, let the snake kill this rat, even though I know that's like just the natural order of things. Snakes kill and eat rats. But I could not do it. Like I said, because sometimes I think I'm just a little bit too soft-hearted, about things. Interesting day today. I actually got contacted by my homie, Dark Knight of Hibernia. I don't know if he even goes online anymore. I haven't seen him in forever, but that was cool. I always like hearing from the old bros and knowing that, yeah, they're still around, they're still doing good and stuff.